Hello, family. Once again, I'm talking to you now from Thursday evening, which will probably be Friday morning by the time this gets up. I just want to let you know that I haven't forgotten, and of course, will reply to all the concerns we've already gotten. And I would just like to point out a lot of things regarding the misfortune that it is whenever we have to inconvenience ourselves more than we already have to. Because really, if you think about it, we don't need to do a lot of things that we do, but we also don't have to do a lot of things that we probably should do. For example, like regarding cars, I would say that most of the time we now get to drive everywhere we go, which is a really huge convenience for most people. Meaning you can just take way less time. You're cutting your time in half by driving anywhere you want to go. Actually, it's probably more than half. I would say. I mean, have you seen the Amish? It's not. It's way more than half. So the car is definitely a huge convenience to everybody who has one. However, there are a lot of inconveniences that go along with the car that I think everybody is kind of getting sick of. Mostly due to the fact that cars never seem to be working, ever. They never seem to function properly. Almost all the time you hear about people who are talking about their cars don't do this, their cars don't do that, they don't function correctly in some way, shape, or form. Which can be a little difficult when you're trying to conveniently drive somewhere and your vehicle doesn't conveniently work in the right way. Which you'd think we would master the ability to have vehicles that didn't break all the time, but for some reason that just is not available to any of us. Of course, a lot of that is also due to the fact that how we drive and where we drive, considering if you drive on a gravel road, your tires are going to wear down a lot quicker than if you drove on, streets and pavement and stuff like that. So that's a slightly different thing. But however, for the most part, most cars, especially if they aren't new, which most people's cars are not new, then the car is always going to break down. There's always going to be an issue with it. There's going to be some small, even sometimes just a really small inconvenience that's just going to ruin everything about your day. You know what I mean? Because when your car breaks down, when your car doesn't work, your day is just done. It's over. You've already lost everything because you need a car to get anywhere nowadays because cars have created a convenience where we can now move about and travel long distances in short amounts of time. So most of the time your work is going to be 20, 30, 40, 50, raise up from that, a long ways away. And it's going to be fine because it'll take you a few minutes to get there. But without a car, thing that's supposed to get you from point A to point B, if that's not getting you from point A to point B, then you're kind of at a loss. Which is really kind of weird because you kind of need the car to get to the job, and the job is to pay for the car, and it's just kind of a repetitive cycle that never really ends. And with regards to the gas station things, I think it is very true. I used to work partly at a gas station that was part of the place that I worked, and I agree that there's so many questions that have to be asked. And even when they come in, it's a huge inconvenience. There's always a line, there's always people going on. You can't just buy gas, which is kind of weird. Because that's totally what we want you to do. We just want you to buy the gas, give us the money for the gas, and then leave. But that's just not how things work anymore. You have to answer a bunch of riddles. You've got to type in passwords. You've got to give out your address. You've got to tell them your home phone number. You want to sign up for some coupons. Then maybe you'll be able to buy your product, like gas. I'm not really sure why I said product. That didn't really even fit in the whole context of what I was trying to tell you guys. But it kind of matches the fact that whenever you try to buy things, especially at a new store like Giant Eagle, they don't want you to buy things without a card like it was mentioned before, and that's kind of silly. Why not? Why can't we just buy things anymore? Why can't we just give the thing that's worth, something, the thing that represents gold, we're going to give it to people, and then they're going to give us another thing that we need to have. But now they want us to have coupons, they want us to save money, but I don't really think that's true because nobody wants to get less money for a product. There's always some kind of angle into it. We want to know your address, your phone number, where you live, how much money you're buying, all that kind of stuff. Anytime you take a survey, it's never an honest. They never want the survey honestly. They're never like, oh, we genuinely want to know what kind of shoes you wear, or how you like these products, how much you would pay for kinds of meat, where you live, how are you doing, what's going on, what color's your hair, how many kids do you have? Do you have a dog? If you have a dog, what's his name? What was your first dog's name? Do you like pie? What kind of pie would you enjoy? What is your mother's maiden name? Where do you live again? Oh, could you just tell me one more time? Write it down. Give me 2 addresses, 2 phone numbers, and a password that has the letter U. I should mention that not all stores do that. In fact, very few do, but I've been on the internet too much. I would also kind of like to address the flip side to it, where it's kind of silly that we get upset about, inconveniences, even when they're really big inconveniences. We still live in a great place, and we still live in a way that we can pretty much get anything we want if we have, enough money for it. But for the most part, anything we want is available somewhere, and we can get it within, days if it's shipped to us, or we can go to a store and get it immediately. So I think a lot of it has to do with us being kind of in a fast-paced world that wants things on demand. Want them right now. We want to have them here. We want to have it done already. So it's kind of, it's kind of silly that we are getting essentially what we want. We're just not getting it as soon as we want it. We're not getting it as quickly. We're not getting it as efficiently as we want it. But we're still going to get it. Whereas there are thousands, maybe even, millions of people that are not getting what we get all the time. Which I'm, of course, addressing other people that don't get, like, food and water and nutrition and, healthcare and insurance and stuff like that. People that are, suffering. Whereas people that, didn't get the favorite pair of shoes they wanted because they weren't on sale or they weren't on clearance, or the guy at the register just took forever, so I just left them there by the thing. Not that those problems aren't relevant, it's just that in comparison to other things, they're not as important. Which is kind of the only way you can really deal with the stressful and rude people out there that like to make things a little harder for all of us to just kind of live and enjoy life all the time. Which is really what we're all trying to do. We're just trying to have a good time. We're just trying to have fun. We're just trying to enjoy any part of our lives that we can when we're not working. Although I would like to add another thing regarding, prices and stuff like that. I would like to say that fast food restaurants, the big ones, such as like McDonald's, Taco Bell, all these other places, I really feel like everything should be $1. I mean, like, if you think about it, they're already making billions and billions of dollars. They already have billions and billions of dollars, which, if you think about the number billion, you can't physically count to it because you would get bored and you'd stop because it's that big of a number. So the idea that they're making that much money a day or in a week or whatever, that's kind of crazy. And they really don't need to make any more money because it doesn't matter how much money you make after $1 billion, because you're never going to spend $1 billion. Well, you shouldn't spend $1 billion anyway. I mean, after you buy, like, all the basics, the jet ski, the mansion, all that other kind of stuff, then, I mean, even then you spend a few $1 million, which does not even add up to half of what you really still have in the bank. And I realize you still have to pay your employees, you still have to maintain all the food and stuff like that, and whatever, but still, even if you have everything for $1, there's still hundreds of thousands of people that are buying from McDonald's every single day. So you're still making several $1 million off of these people all the time. You don't have to jack up the prices of anything. Everything should be $1 or less. Because that's what most fast food tastes like anyway. Just $1 or less of food. And so you should only pay for that much. Because $1 pretty much buys you nothing anymore. So we should really try to improve that. We should try to keep the dollar around while we still can. And yes, I realize there's a Dollar Tree, but have you ever been to the Dollar Tree? It's not a fun place. I apologize, it kind of is a fun place. I mean, I admit there's a lot of things there, but most of that stuff is not stuff that you want or need most of the time. And it's pretty cheap quality things also. I also believe that phone bills should be a lot less than they are. And I do realize, again, that of course it costs a lot of money to make phones happen and to make the systems we have work. However, like I said before, major companies are making several $1 million all the time because everybody has a phone. It's not just like a handful of rich people that they're taking money from. They're taking money from everybody because everybody and their mother has a cell phone nowadays, and which is fine. That's a great convenience that we have. The inconvenient part is that we have to pay, $300 a month so that we can have these phones, which is kind of ridiculous because even if you charge $10 for each person, you're still making millions of dollars. You don't understand. There's so much money you're going to make no matter what you do. Because cell phones have become a lot like, gas and food. We all have them, and we all need them to function in this society nowadays. I mean, people have always needed food. It's not just this society itself. Everybody kind of needs food to survive, so that doesn't really fit in that category. I apologize. But you get what I mean. You're feeling what I'm saying when I say this, is that we all have to have phones. We all need to have phones because it's the only way we're going to communicate with each other, and it's a great way to do it. It's just the money is the biggest problem. I mean, I know kids that have jobs just to pay for their cell phones. Like, that's all their job can do is pay for the cell phone. Because cell phones are really expensive. I also think smartphones should be cheaper because everybody wants a smartphone. I mean, when was the last time you even saw a flip phone? Actually, I saw one yesterday, and it built up inside me this nostalgia ball of just, oh my goodness, I used to have one of those, and boy, I can't even imagine what it was like. You're telling me your phone only sends text messages throughout air and space and travels to another phone? You're telling me you can only call somebody that's thousands of miles away? Come on, man. I can Google cat videos anywhere in the world that I want. Actually, I'm pretty sure the contract is only for the United States, but again, you understand what I'm trying to say. Although it would be pretty sweet to show people in foreign countries that what we do with our time is, video cats being silly. Well, that's actually all I have for you guys for the moment. So, without further ado, I would just like to say, peace out, and I'll see you guys later. Speaking of everyday modern conveniences, I would just like to slowly point out, no microwave directions at all.